Alright, we've installed all of the push rods and some of the rocker arms. I just wanted to show you a few things to watch out for. First of all, on your push rods, you need to thoroughly inspect, roll them flat on the table, make sure none of them are bent. Also, it's a good idea to have them hot tanked and cleaned with all the other parts. Blow them out with air pressure. You want to clean that out. That's a hollow tube that oil has to pass through. So you want to make sure that's clean. Also, you want to make sure, well, what I usually do to double check the straightness while you're working on it, I'll go ahead and spin these while I'm adjusting my rocker arms. And if I see a rocker arm wobbling or anything like that, then I'll know that there's a slight bend in it. That maybe something I missed when I was rolling it on the table. Maybe there was something I missed. But anyways, so we're going to go ahead and take our thick oil or assembly lube, and we're just going to go ahead and put a little dot on the push rod, the threaded stud, and the valve. Bam, 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 just like that. Every new part you install, you need to put some oil on it. So anyways, we've already done that on all the other rocker arms. And actually, a few of these rocker arms had excessive wear on the little pad where the rocker arm touches the top of the valve, so I ended up just throwing those away and replacing them. A few of the push rods were worn out also. You have to eyeball all this stuff. So anyways. And then again, also you want to inspect all your rocker balls and make sure none of them are damaged or cracked. I already looked at these and they look pretty darn good. Now I'm going to install the lock nuts, and these nuts are tapered on the top, which gives it a nice tight fit as you tighten it down. You'll probably notice while you're adjusting your valves down that it gets tighter as you go. If you come across one that doesn't feel tight as you're tightening it down, you probably have a weak lock nut, and you may want to find another one to replace it. It's a pretty important part of your engine. If you do happen to have a wore out lock nut, this nut could back off and actually may lose a rocker arm or do some engine damage to your engine, so you definitely want to avoid that. So anyway, we're just going to run these down so they're just a little bit snug. These down and get them a little bit snug. Save some time here. Alright, that's good for there. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to adjust these valves and rocker arms according to the firing order of the engine, which is the same as your distributor firing order, which would be 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. And we'll rotate the engine and try to get each cylinder on its firing stroke, on its compression stroke, and we'll adjust these rocker arms. I went ahead and changed the camera angle for a better view. So anyway, we have cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we're going to go through our firing order and adjust the valves. We'll start at cylinder number 1 here. Cylinder number 1 here, and I'm going to try to zoom in here so you can see the lifters, and that's what's going to guide us through this process here. We're going to watch their lifters go up and down. See if I can focus in on that. Alright. Now this is your intake lifter and this is your exhaust lifter. Now we know that after your intake valve closes, your piston's going to come right up to top dead center. As it sucks in the gas, it'll go up to build pressure. So that's when we want to adjust our valve on the power stroke. I'm sorry. So that's when we want to adjust the valve clearance is on our compression stroke. So we're going to go ahead and crank this engine. We're going to watch this intake valve rise and close, and as you can see, it's rising up right now, see? So we're going to watch that valve close. The lifter is going to come up, which is opening the valve. It's going to go back down and close, and actually I can see on my timing mark here, it's all the way closed, and we're right on top dead center, about right there. So this lifter's all the way down, and this lifter's all the way down. That's what we want, which is closed valves. We're going to go ahead and tighten these rocker arms, and what I do also is I'm going to go ahead and spin this push rod as I tighten the rocker arm. That way I can judge how tight I have this nut. We just want it to barely have, we want it to have no play, but just be touching and be able to spin it still with really no pressure. This is just going to be our preliminary adjustment. We're going to go around and double check and tighten everything again after this. So anyway, I got it tight. As you can see, there's no movement side to side, wiggle. Don't want to compress our lifter in. It's already full of hydraulic pressure, so as soon as it feels snug, we're going to be good. Same thing here. See, we can see. Let's go ahead and zoom this out here. Alright, we're going to go on to our next one, which is the exhaust valve. As you can see, this rocker arm is still loose. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up while spinning this push rod. And as soon as this push rod feels like it's got a little pressure on it, we're going to stop. I can feel right there, we got a little pressure on it. Still spin it. There you go. So that's pretty much going to be our rough no clearance adjustment. So we're going to go through the whole firing order. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2, and we'll have it all done. And watch our valve go down for a number 8 cylinder. Do the same thing. We're going to adjust 8 next. So anyway, I'm going to go through this whole process and we'll go back for our final adjustment. I've gone ahead and pre-adjusted all of these push rods and rocker arms so they have virtually no free play, but actually not tight enough to compress the lifter yet. Remember, these are hydraulic lifters and they build up oil pressure, which actually cushions the movement of the camshaft to the rocker arm. But anyway, what we're going to do here is, since your Chevrolet calls for no valve lash, since your Chevrolet calls for no valve lash at all with hydraulic lifters, what we're going to do is crank each one of these lock nuts down 1.5 turns, which is going to compress the lifter just very slightly enough so it'll take pressure off of the retaining ring that holds the lifter together. If your lifters are loose, they could bang on that retaining ring for quite a while and actually will break your lifter. So what we want to do is just crank each one down 1.5 turns, which will be in that safety zone away from your retainer clip and also not compressing the spring or the lifter too much. So what I usually do is I just go 3 strokes from 12 o'clock to 6. 1, 2, 3, and go right down the line. 1, 2, 3. That's 1.5 turns. Some people actually try to adjust these while they're running. It's a big oily mess and I really don't recommend it. You can't get accurate adjustment like that. All that does is take the ticking sounds out of it. 1, 2. Okay. That about does it. We got all our valves adjusted. The engine's oil primed, ready to fire. Go ahead and rotate it a few more times. Make sure everything moves like it's supposed to. And also, even though I've already put a little lube on there, it's good to put a little oil in these rocker arm balls again after you've adjusted them for that first startup. Okay, that ought to do it. Alright, let's go ahead and recap what we've just done. We installed all our rocker arms and push rods, inspected the rocker arms, inspected the rocker balls, tightened them halfway down just to get the free play out. Then we went around and took all the free play out of each rocker arm and push rod assembly on the compression stroke of each cylinder, which is done by following the fire order. Then after we have adjusted these down to 0 lash, what we've done is gone ahead and double check, crank the engine, make sure everything is adjusted this the way we want it so we could barely spin these push rods on the compression stroke, and went around and tightened each nut 1.5 turns to take that pressure off your retaining spring in your valve lifter, which will protect it and make it last a long time and many miles. So anyway, that's where we stand there. We've got all our valves adjusted. We're going to go ahead and put our intake manifold gasket on now.